Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of Project Edward. Our plans have been slightly beset by the weather today. We've had an awful lot of rain, but we still had a lot of fun as well. I've been here in Chelmsford today with the Safer Essex Roads Partnership, but our other road trips have been elsewhere in the country as well. And I think we should have a map coming up shortly to show you where they've been today.
It's about people staying safe, concentrating on what they're doing and thinking about the problems there can be on the roads.
In Chelmsford, and I'm here with Nicola Foster, who is the partnership lead for the Safer Essex Roads Partnership and has been responsible for the Vision Zero road safety strategy. And you've been developing that for quite a while now. We've had a really good day in Chelmsford today. I was wondering whether you could talk me through a few of the activities that you've had here today, particularly the couple that we've currently got in the background.
Yeah, sure. We've been talking to lots of people as they've been passing by. We've been using our My Small Change campaign car to try and encourage young drivers to come and use the My Small Change campaign to try and win monthly prizes. And we've also been using the car to talk to people about vehicle safety features, which is important layer protection. One of the major draws we've had today is the digivan that you can see behind us. We developed a film to show the speed enforcement we've been doing, to show the cycle tracks and schemes that we've been developing to make people safer on the road. We've been showing the Towards Zero film, live streaming that from YouTube, and also showing the Extra Eyes clips that people have submitted as footage to our Extra Eyes portal.
And we've got a couple of those to show in a second, but how's the engagement been during the day? Have you had good engagement from the locals as you've shown them the videos?
It's been a bit soggy, but yeah, engagement has been great today. People have been really interested in the videos and they've been watching it from around where we're standing. But people have been really engaging, really interested, and absolutely support our aspiration to have zero road deaths and serious injuries.
Fantastic. And the My Small Change car, that's kind of run as a competition, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the third year we've been running that as a competition, and it encourages younger road users in particular to watch positive films about road safety and ask them to sign a pledge and to share that on social media. So it's sort of peer-to-peer talking amongst themselves and saying, actually, it's quite cool to be safe on the roads.
So what we'd like to do as well, because Project Edward is sponsored by Nextbase Dashcams, so we're going to donate one of our dash cams to you for that competition as well. But fantastic. That also links in with the Extra Eyes that we were just talking about. So that is a campaign to get the public to share their dash cam footage, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely. You'll see from the footage that we're after people who are making deliberate choices to put themselves and others at risk. And we really need to stop that. Police can't be everywhere, but Extra Eyes can really help us try and provide more enforcement to keep everyone safe.
Fantastic. Now, we've got a couple of clips that we've taken actually that you've been showing on the digivan during the day, haven't we? So I think we've got those ready to play. Yeah. So the two we've seen are one, I think, was a black Honda on a dual carriageway with a particularly dangerous overtake. And then we've seen a really close pass on a cyclist. So both of those two got reasonably severe penalties for those. They were quite poor examples. Presumably that's exactly the sort of example you're looking for the public to share.
Exactly, yeah, really deliberate risk-taking behaviour. Sometimes, though, with people with a close pass, they might not necessarily mean to. They just don't understand from the cyclist perspective just how close they're going and how uncomfortable that feels as a cyclist and how dangerous that is. So he's accepted a course, so he'll be able to discuss that and hopefully increase his awareness of how far he needs to leave between himself and the bicycle.
Fantastic. I'm going to come back to Nicola a little later in the program, but for now we've got 2 competitions running on the website. We've got the Spin the Wheel and the Fact Hunt. And if you head over to the website now, which is projectedward.org, you'll be able to find all the details you need to enter those 2 competitions. Now, earlier, James was at another event. He's pre-recorded a segment that we're going to show you now. So if we can cut to see what James was up to earlier in the day.
Thank you, Simon. I'm sorry you've had a fairly challenging day in some very awful weather across the southeast. We're lucky. It's Tuesday early afternoon now, and the sun is almost shining. We've had the rain, but it's getting better. And I'm very pleased to be here with Stuart Vince from Hampshire Fire and Rescue, because the next few minutes I think are going to be very interesting indeed. One of the pillars of the safe system is post-crash care. And it looks like we are right in the midst of a post-crash care exercise here. Tell us what's going on and why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so thanks very much. So we've been doing a simulation of a road traffic collision, simulating a rear underrun of a heavy goods vehicle with a car going underneath. We had, prior to you doing this interview, we had a casualty in between the car and the lorry, and then a second casualty within the vehicle. So we've actually done a lift of the vehicle to remove that first casualty. Once that's been complete, we've then gone on to the second vehicle, and we've done what we call a roof flap by the B post there, the second pillar in the vehicle, and that's enabled us to get the second casualty out of the back of the vehicle.
And why are you doing all of this?
So primarily what we teach here is what we will then use through our learning and development to go onto the road to train our firefighters. But currently what we're doing is training for the UK Rescue Organisation, which takes place in Newcastle this coming weekend.
And we will be joining the beginning of that on Friday. But just, if we may, we'll walk and talk and just the actual amount of equipment that you need. I mean, raising a light goods vehicle like this must take a little bit of effort. What's going on here then?
The guys have done a really good job. So what we've set up here, we've utilised the Paratech there to stabilise the vehicle, to take that sideways moving out of it. All of the vehicle is chocked as well. And then we've set up a primary lifting cell, which is utilising the airbags, which will be our primary lift of the vehicle. And then we've got hydrofusion struts, one each side, which if the airbags fail, we've got that secondary lifting cell in place to raise the vehicle. So a bit of redundancy built into the extrication plan.
And whilst the team are resting, we won't bother them. But I suppose I'm interested in the communication skills, because there's so much going on. Does everyone have a particular job? Do they know exactly what to do as soon as they arrive?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much obviously my role is to kind of be an overall incident commander, but the guys very much know their roles. So we've got 3 technical guys who will know straight away that they've got to stabilise the vehicle. Our 2 medics will go around the vehicle, identify the casualties, their trap, their injuries, their orientation within the vehicle, and then we all come together to that common goal of extricating the casualties safely out. So it's all very much casualty centred, albeit we've got 3 different roles within the team.
If I were a casualty, I would think it would be vital to have really clear, reassuring and confident communication. How much do you get the chance to practice that, and the actual way that you talk to a casualty?
I mean, on stations, the guys and girls will practice that constantly as part of their ongoing training. And then as a team, we come together as often as we can prior to competitions to utilise that. And hopefully, like I say, the skills we do here get fed back into our learning and development, and then they go out onto the road for the guys and girls on stations to practice it in the real world.
And that does mean that in the real world, people will be extricated where necessary, more efficiently and quickly and safely by these crews doing their rehearsal and their constant practicing. However, the word competition does suggest there's a little bit of kind of argy-bargy happening. How do you rate your chances in Newcastle then, and who are you up against?
There's some very good teams in the UK. We're very lucky to be part of the UK Rescue Organisation. Some fantastic teams out there. Bridgend, which is obviously you're from that part of the world, very, very good side. Hereford and Worcester, London, East Sussex, some really, really good teams out there. So, ultimately it's trying to reduce deaths on the road and best practice to try and achieve that. But yeah, the competition element is definitely there. So, fingers crossed we'll do okay, and hopefully the training we're doing over these 3 days will put us in a good position. So yeah.
Stu, thank you very much indeed. Now, as the crews just take a glass of water before their next extrication exercise, we will meet the Hampshire Fire and Rescue Chief, Neil Odin.
I'm Neil Odin. I'm the Chief Fire Officer of Hampshire in the Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service and also the Chair of the United Kingdom Rescue Organisation. It's important to remember that every 20 seconds someone is seriously injured on UK roads, and every day 5 people are killed. Those sorts of stats mean fire and rescue services, within their own responsibilities for preventing serious death and injury across the UK and our communities, means road safety is taken very seriously. And depending on obviously how fire and rescue services are governed, whether part of a county council or a local authority or indeed they're standalone, will be the difference between whether they do those things on a statutory basis or do it as a kind of willing volunteer helping other organisations in driving down road deaths. But every single fire service across the UK has some description of road safety driven within their own risk plan. And we do a lot of work across the National Fire Chiefs Council and, of course, in the United Kingdom Rescue Organisation to try and improve not only extrication techniques, but also the education up front to stop these things happening in the first place, including engineering on roads and people's behaviours, young people particularly.
Now, as we all know, young drivers are a specific challenge to all of us, and there's no silver bullet to eliminate danger. What can fire and rescue bring that might reach this hard-to-reach group?
I think the Fire and Rescue Service has a unique brand, and in particular young people do find themselves drawn to Fire and Rescue Services in our messaging, because it's all too easy to say to young people, don't do that, it's dangerous, and we know in general it doesn't work as a kind of message. When it comes to driving and when it comes to general safety, we find that our brand is working quite well in as much as we can nudge them into thinking twice about how they may behave. And in particular on the roads, young people we know are most vulnerable from road death and injury, particularly when they first start driving. And our work with some universities to try and demonstrate the effectiveness of our messaging, not in a kind of way of trying to scare them, but educate them and realise this seriousness of making mistakes on the road. And we intend to work alongside the fantastic charities and third sector that work in this space, as well as local authorities and government, to drive down these deaths. And delighted to be working alongside Project Edward to make that happen.
How have extrication techniques changed and the vehicles over the years since you joined the fire service?
I've been a firefighter for 30 years. Even in my time, both vehicles and equipment to work on them has changed enormously. The key, I think, what we've seen a lot of is knowledge. So the understanding of different vehicle types, the data provided by equipment and vehicle manufacturers to the fire and rescue service sector. So we know where we can cut, where we can't cut. And of course, most recently, the use of battery powered in these vehicles. It's really important that we know where those cables are. And the dangers associated with high voltage power for vehicle transportation systems. So enormous amount of knowledge now firefighters need, and I'm delighted to say that the suppliers have developed some fantastic kit to enable us to do that well.
That was Neil Odin, Chief of Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue. Now, the folks are just resetting here for their next extrication exercise, so we are going to just backtrack an hour or two to the town of Rumsey and the delivery office just behind the post office, where we caught up with Andy Bushnell, who is the delivery office manager, and members of his team to talk about their new Drive 360 initiative. Welcome to Tuesday afternoon. And we're in the town of Rumsey in Hampshire, in the shadow of the great Norman Abbey, which is just behind us here. We're in the delivery office for Royal Mail. Now, last year we had a brilliant opportunity to go to the Royal Mail National Distribution Centre. Well, this year we're in a slightly smaller place. I'm looking forward to talking to some of the people who are here. And the first person we're going to have a quick chat to is Andy Bushnell. Now, Andy, let's talk about this new system you have, which is called 360. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's a project that Royal Mail have been promoting to test new ways of ensuring that our drivers are compliant and out on the road. Obviously, historically up until now, it's been very paper driven. We need to move forward into the 21st century, and so we've been trialling some new ways of working and getting that actually into a digital format to do the van checks for the drivers. And obviously, we keep an eye on how they're doing in terms of their van driving ability with telemetry scores that are actually come back live from the vehicles, so we can see how well they're doing, give them some feedback, give some hints and tips, and hopefully improve their driving.
And are the safety benefits coming through? Are you seeing the results?
Yeah, we certainly are. We display the scores every week now for all the vehicles, and it gets quite a good engagement from the staff. You see them have a little huddle around when we put those up. Obviously, there's a few, laughs and shouts from here and there, but it's good. It's engagement, and people are very protective about their vans, and obviously making sure they get a good score every week.
Let's talk to some of the highest scorers, I believe. So thanks for joining us here. Tell us your Mark.
Yeah.
How does this system work for you? Does it have benefits for you as a driver?
Yes, I think it makes you drive more careful and steady, and because you have to do your safety checks before you go out, and if you don't drive at a sensible speed, you could be getting in trouble for it. So yes, I think it does have benefits.
Brian, it's probably not you, it's everybody else, isn't it, on the road? I mean, it can be a tough old place out there. Tell us how you cope.
You have to have your wits about you, really. People see a red van, and sometimes they will pull out at roundabouts or junctions without giving it a second thought, because obviously we try and drive as carefully as we can, following the programmes and that we have in place.
David, I expect you've been driving a van for some while. Have you got any tips, for that you have in your mind that work for safety for you?
Well, primarily it's doing the checks that we've always been meant to do, but now, because we have to tick them off on our machine, it makes sure that we have a van that's ready to go on the road. I think that's really important.
You don't, any of you, feel that it's kind of you're being spied on? It's all for a good safety purpose, I guess?
No, not really. I think it is proper safety checks. If you don't do them properly, you're going to have a dangerous van. I think it's a good idea.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much to Andy for having us here in Rumsey. Our next port of call will be at the fire headquarters on the other side of Winchester, so please join us there. Well, thank you very much to the team at Rumsey Delivery Office and finding out all about their Drive 360 initiative. We are just waiting for the next extrication exercise to begin, and as you can see here, what the teams will be looking at is a pretty complex situation with a head-on collision between two vehicles. There will be volunteers put inside there to simulate the casualties, and the job of the extrication crew will be to get those casualties out safely and as quickly and effectively as possible. So we'll be joining them very shortly. But before that, I'd just like to take you to Northern Ireland, because we were there for a couple of days last week, and I will now share with you some of my experience at the RoadSafe NI Awards launch. Okay, a new location, a new coloured tie, and to the Apple Green service area just off the M1 motorway, and meeting Tricia and Rita. Sisters, what's the value of awards today? I mean, this is the launch of the awards. What good do they do for road safety?
So the Road Safety Awards, they recognise the grassroots work that has gone on throughout Northern Ireland in local communities right across Northern Ireland. We do see the fantastic advertisements on the TV, and you might hear of different initiatives going on as well, but the awards themselves recognise the grassroots work that sometimes goes unseen because a lot of it is done at a local level.
Rita, let's talk about John Paul. Yes. Of all the bad that came out of losing him, has there been good as well?
Well, yeah, I think joining the charity at the time gave me a focus, gave me something to concentrate on when I was trying to deal with my grief. And for me, it just means that John Paul's death won't be in vain. If we can even save one family from going through what we're going through, still going through, like it's nearly 7 years this month that John Paul was killed. And if we can stop that happening to even one family, I'll feel better for it. It has definitely helped me cope with the situation, and as time has gone on, you can sort of see what we're doing. You can see it building, and yeah, it's a memory. It's in memory of John Paul, and us as a family, and John Paul's family very much believe that this is his legacy. You know, we have two very small children when John Paul died, and that'll be their legacy, and they'll hopefully grow up and grow into that and continue when we're maybe no longer fit to. So it saved my life nearly in the aftermath of John Paul's death, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
I'm Rosie Leach. I'm an inspector in road policing with the PSNI. Well, I suppose when we're coming out of this pandemic, it is about trying to get the road safety message back up there on the agenda. We are hearing so much about health pressures, we're hearing so much about Brexit, we're hearing so much about economic woes. It is about getting that road safety message back into the public consciousness. I think people have got used to having quieter roads and fewer distractions, and now we're back to nearly business as usual on the roads, and with that comes the risks and the dangers as people are distracted and not adhering to speed limits and perhaps drinking and driving. All the usual things, we're seeing them still emerging and still very prevalent. I think my wish would be that every driver and every other road user is more considerate and more mannerly on the roads. I think that's the big issue. If we were all to just take that time and consider everyone else and not just have our agenda front and centre, I think we definitely would be less selfish and we'd be more generous to other drivers and other road users, and I think that would make a big difference.
What our business is about is seeing the effects of road traffic accidents on our customers every day, and therefore we look at how we can support agencies like Road Safe NI to push out their message to keep people safe on the roads.
Tell me about the people who win the awards, because you've been involved with it for some time. You must meet some incredible people.
Oh, absolutely. You've got people who, like Pat Martin, who has been involved in road safety for 50 or 60 years, and then you have other people who are at primary school who get involved in road safety initiatives like poster competitions and the schools quiz. So you've got the full age range of people and experiences of people who have done amazing things over the years for road safety that don't often get highlighted.
Yes, I'm Davy Jackson. I'm the chairman of Road Safe NI.
Let's talk about the 2021 awards. What expectations do you have? What sort of people are you hoping will be put forward for these awards?
Well, we have 12 categories: education, business, lollipop person, driving instructor, emergency service. So we have a wide range of categories there, and we want anyone to nominate either themselves or someone they know as a road safety champion. And every year it does quite well. We do get quite a lot of applications, so we're expecting more of the same this year.
Finally, a wish that you could make for road safety. If you could have one wish come true, what would it be?
Well, an end to all road deaths, I suppose, would be the ultimate aim. The road to zero.
Thank you very much there to Davy Jackson and everybody from Road Safe NI. Well, as you can see, this extrication exercise is in full flow. It's very realistic. There are 2 casualties that the officers are dealing with. As you can see, they're in the first stages of stabilising the vehicle, making sure everything is as safe as possible before they start trying to get the casualties out. There isn't more, I'm afraid, more time for us to do anything. So we need to say goodbye from Hampshire. It's something we're going to stand by and watch to its conclusion, but I know there's lots of other material from Neil and from Simon, so I'm going to say from Hampshire, on behalf of everybody here, thanks to Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue, it's goodbye.
Welcome back to Chelmsford. Earlier today, Nicola Foster and I went to visit one of the speed enforcement activities that were being run on the outskirts of Chelmsford. I took the opportunity to ask Nicola more about the Vision Zero strategy and why that particular site had been chosen for the speed enforcement. Right, so we're here it's a wet afternoon in Chelmsford, isn't it? So I'm here with Nicola Foster, who's the lead on the partnership for the Vision Zero road safety strategy. And Nicola, you've been involved with the Vision Zero strategy for a while now. And you've developed it. We're launching it this week. What's been your focus when you've been developing the strategy? What have been the main challenges that you have to deal with that you hope the strategy will solve?
The focus for us has been about giving the best to the people of Essex. We've been really successful in reducing deaths and serious injuries, but we believe that the aspiration should be for 0 road deaths and serious injuries by 2040 for the people of Essex. I think the biggest challenge for the partnership has been understanding the breadth of what we need to do to achieve that. that not only do we need to concentrate on making safer users and on safer speeds, but we need to look at the vehicles as well, and the road and the environment, and also the post-collision response for when everything goes horribly wrong. And the understanding for us that we're not addressing every collision, but what we want to do is to make sure that nobody dies or is seriously injured as a result of having a collision.
That's excellent. Now, we're running tomorrow the UK's first Safe Speeds Day, and I noticed we're here at a speed enforcement event that you've got running in the town. What are they looking for? What's special about this particular location?
Well, this is actually the first time that our TrueCam trained officers have been enforcing in this 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's outside a school, it's on a busy road in the town centre, and we've got a mix of traffic. You can just see a bus going past. We have lots of cyclists, and we want to send the message that speed and having a safe and appropriate legal speed at all times is really important.
Fantastic. Thank you. Hi, I'm back with Nicola Foster in Chelmsford. Nicola, we've just seen the footage that we shot earlier of the speed enforcement activity on the outskirts of Chelmsford. What did they find? How many people did they stop?
They captured over 176 drivers going faster than in the 20-mile-an-hour limit outside the school.
Right, so that's why it's a 20 zone, is it? Because there's a school there?
And because there's a mix of traffic, so we want to encourage cycling and walking as well, yeah.
And has that historically been a site where you've had incidents before?
It's been a 30 up until about 6 months ago, so it's a fairly new 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. But yeah, it's just really important for us to make sure the speeds are lowered to encourage cyclists and walkers.
Fantastic. Now, earlier today, I spoke with two of the councillors, Lee Scott and Leslie Wagland, OBE, and I'm going to show you what they had to say about the Vision Zero strategy partnership here in Essex. So we're here at the Vision Zero Road Safety Strategy launch in Essex, and I'm here with Councillor Lee Scott, who's the Cabinet Member for Highways and Sustainable Transport at Essex County Council. So, Lee, I wanted to ask you, what road safety means to you and how important it is within the local community here.
It means making our roads safer and more secure for everybody. That's both pedestrians, motorists, cyclists. We're at a time when no deaths are acceptable on our roads. We've got to make sure that people don't lose their lives. We can only do that by a safer partnership, by having a Vision Zero, not just as an aspiration, but to make sure, like some European countries have already done, we achieve it and make sure that nobody loses their life unnecessarily on our roads again.
I think that's fantastic. And as we can see from the various partners and contributors that you've got at today's event, it really is important locally that everybody's come out, and it's so important that everybody works together and collaborates on achieving these objectives.
It's important that the fire brigade, the police, the safer partnership, the county council all join together with all agencies to make sure that we can achieve our aims, our aspirations to stop people being killed on our roads. That's what it's about, and this launch is fantastic, and I want to congratulate everyone involved in it.
Thank you very much. So I'm here with Councillor Leslie Wagland, OBE, who's chair of the Safer Essex Roads Partnership. It's been a fantastic event that you put on today, Leslie. I wanted to ask you who's involved in this event, and why is it so important that they all collaborate together effectively in the partnership?
I'm so glad you asked me that, because this is a really genuinely true partnership of all the organisations in Essex who are responsible for safety on our roads, and they all work together with a single mission, which is now to ensure that we have no deaths and serious injuries on the road by 2040. We are determined to get to that target. I love single mission organisations. They always mean that you look at something from a different end of the telescope and you start thinking, what would we do if we wished to achieve that? And there's an amazing video showing here, which you'll also be able to see online, which shows you exactly what it means to say that some deaths are acceptable on our roads. We don't accept that, and we're not going to. We're going to work forward with it. And this is an organisation which runs the courses that many people will be familiar with, that you take instead of points if you infringe the rules on the road. And those courses are the ones which fund our work at Safer Essex Roads Partnership in terms of engagement, education and our engineering, so that we will eliminate safety hazards for people on the roads. We do 100,000 tickets a year, 85,000 people go through the courses, and the amazing team here, you and I were discussing this earlier today, this amazing team, when we came to the pandemic, they had to move out of their building, go home, and then try and make this system work despite the pandemic, and they converted their courses to virtual. At that point, the government thought it might give an amnesty to people who had points before, but instead we persuaded them that we should still do the courses so as to improve safety on the roads. Those virtual courses are now a leading brand of providing the virtual courses. There's us and Manchester City Council in the same bracket. Can't be many opportunities for that.
And they're so good, those courses are engaging drivers, aren't they? So it's been really good that you've been able to keep those going just using different technology.
Absolutely. I won't ask you how you know that, but the answer to that is definitely, and we are hugely grateful to the team who've worked here. Also, we want to be grateful to the public about the dash cam, our extra eyes function. Please download. You are soon, the general public, going to be able in most circumstances to send that material, have it downloaded, and result in tickets flowing from that. Already happening, and really successful exercise, and makes people, I think, feel better about some of the really terrible driving that we want to stop, but you're our eyes and ears for.
Yes. Fantastic. Councillor, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Nicola, that was some fantastic shows of support from the councillors. How important is it that you get engagement from all the partners to make a success of Vision Zero?
It's really important. We're so lucky to have a really strong partnership, but what we need to do is get other agencies and businesses and communities on board with us as well. And that's part of what today's been about, is telling members of the public what Vision Zero is about, asking them whether they support it and how they want us to help them implement that in the future.
Fantastic. Nicola, thank you so much. It's been a wet but very enjoyable afternoon in Chelmsford. Thank you very much for inviting us down and showing us what you've got there. Our social media has been going mad over the last 24 hours, and here to give us an update is Neil Jewson-Smith.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Simon. It looks very wet where you are. I can safely report that it's nice and dry in the Project Edward Operations Centre. But good afternoon. The social media is doing really well, as Simon has illustrated there. And if we watched this morning, you would have found that we were at 25.5 million impressions overnight into this morning on Twitter. And since then, that's increased to 29.8 million. And there's a slide there that we can show that's just showing the stats. And that huge yellow line spiking upwards to show how much more engagement we're getting now that our week of action is in full swing. So that's Twitter. Thought we'd give a little update on some of the stuff that's going on Facebook as well. Facebook is a very different platform, but we've got 1,961 likes and 879 shares of just our posts. But there are many posts going out by other partners, agencies, and supporters with the Project Edward hashtag as well. Over on Twitter as well, we're getting some great support. We've had a message from Subaru UK. Kia are our vehicle partners and sponsors this year. But Subaru have always supported Project Edward in one way or another with messages of support on their social media. Gloucestershire Police have also put some information out. Northants Police have posted about an e-scooter event that they're running on Friday, which is free of charge. Pop over to their timeline and have a look. Because e-scooters are a big hot topic at the moment with around their legality of use on the roads. Some great graphics from the Merseyside Road Safety Partnership. Don't forget, of course, as well, the Older Drivers Forum are running free webinars all week. There was one yesterday, one on dash cams. That Next Base were joining them for today. And also we've got Valerie Singleton, OBE, on Thursday, in association with GEM Motoring Assist. We also can say that the competition was drawn for yesterday. That was drawn this afternoon, a little earlier. And the winner has been spoken to and is very glad to be receiving their dashcam. 4 dashcams have gone out in the post today to our various winners. And one other thing, we'll just highlight 2 things from some of our sponsors, because I know this broadcast has been going on for quite a while now, but 2 of our sponsors, HCC Solicitors, Horwich, Cohen and Coughlin Solicitors. Just have a look. We've put some tweets out by them this morning or this afternoon about fact sheets that they refer to. And if you're unfortunate, or somebody that you know is unfortunate enough to be involved in a serious injury collision, well, then they've got some really interesting fact sheets on their website about the help and support that they can provide when you've been the victim of a road traffic collision. And the other one, which was quite scary, from DTEC International, they're the manufacturers of the drug wipe that every force in the UK, all 43 forces, use. And they point out the fact that 44% of cannabis users said they increased their use of the drug during the pandemic. You think, how does that then roll on into how many people we have on the roads that might be over the prescribed limit? That's all, though. Social media is really, really progressing along quite nicely. But we, as a final note, and I've been watching these figures really, really carefully, we can just drop to another slide now that just shows that I've been watching it because we were so close to 30 million, but we've just tipped over 30 million impressions on Twitter alone on social media. So everything's going really well. But from a very dry operations centre in Cheshire, we go back to a soggy Chelmsford and Simon.
Thank you very much, Neil. I envy you your warm office there. Unfortunately, technical difficulties have meant we're not going to be able to bring you Neil Barrett's leg of the trip, but I'm sure he'll have pre-recorded something while he was there, which we'll bring to you tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, we're going to have the UK's first Safe Speeds Day. We've also got the launch of the Vision Zero strategy from Kent, so plenty of interest going on tomorrow. Now, don't forget the podcast. All of the issues of the podcast are currently available on the Project Edward website, and don't forget to follow us on social media too. So I think with that, we'll wrap up today's episode, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow.